If you like trying to find things out, then you would like mindfulness. The reason is for me, mindfulness is like research. Albert Einstein was famously reputed to have said, if we knew what it was that we were doing, it wouldn't be called research, would it? For me, mindfulness is like research. And that research expands our awareness, expands our consciousness. And apart from all the amazing things we already hear about mindfulness reducing our stress, mindfulness helping us have clarity of mind, to communicate better, to collaborate more, I want to share 3 tangible, practical benefits that I've noticed in my own life from practicing mindfulness. And actually, in this video, I'm going to substitute the word for consciousness because it is all about becoming more aware. And I want to share 3 things with you that I've seen in me and in people that I know as well. Hi guys, Calvin again. So I was talking about consciousness. Specifically, we're going to use the word consciousness and mindfulness interchangeably, because if mindfulness means, or to be mindful means to be aware, mindfulness means awareness, then the more we become aware is the more conscious we are, right? So I'm going to be using those terms interchangeably, especially in this talk, to share how I found that some of the benefits that I've noticed, and probably I would say changes in my own behavior since practicing mindfulness, and that of people around me as well. So we've heard, of course, of it reduces stress, and we've heard of it giving us clarity of mind, being able to think better, sleep better, communicate better. But I want to share some practical things that I've noticed in my own life as well. So the first thing is, as we grow in consciousness, it helps us to be more compassionate. More compassionate to ourselves and more compassionate to each other. So what I'm saying here is, if you've ever had those thoughts where you're just kicking yourself for doing something, judging yourself for the outcome that potentially was really out of your control, but you find yourself going, oh man, that was so much, I'm such an idiot. Why did I take this action? Why didn't I say that instead of the other thing in my interview? Why didn't I? And we start kicking ourselves for things that we think have gone wrong. I say that we think that there are things that have gone wrong because it may just be that they didn't turn out the way we foresaw or wanted it to, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's gone wrong. It just means it's averse to what we thought might happen or wanted to happen. But for all you know, it might have gone right. I don't know. Some of these things show themselves later. So we can bring ourselves much more compassion, and then with bringing greater compassion to ourselves, we're able to share that compassion more generously with others, because the two really are interlinked. The relationship between self-judgment and self-compassion, judging others and being compassionate with others, is pretty much 2 sides of the same coin. So that's the first thing I think I would say I've observed. Being more compassionate and kind to myself is, of course, one of the benefits, great benefits, that I've realized from being able to grow in consciousness. The second thing I want to say is that we respect life more. And I say we as humanity because I've noticed we're starting to care more about the environment. And we're talking about longer time cycles here, time spans here, okay? So, before, countries would have death penalty in much greater quantity. Now we've seen the reduction of death penalty over time because we're valuing life differently. We care much more about our environment because we're talking about reforesting, we're talking about caring for trees, we're looking after the bees, and we realize now that there is a greater codependency or symbiotic relationship between man and nature, and we seem to respect life a lot more than we probably have done in recent past. Well, I've certainly seen it in my own life, where rather than just killing that bug that's come into the house, or getting rid of the slug that might have been eating the plants outside by squashing it, I realize now that maybe I might move it into the bush across the street, where it's not gonna cause any damage to our gardens, or whatever. I mean, I'm using a really small example here to show that we actually have these little shifts that happen in the way we respect and treat life, and we don't even really notice it. It kind of creeps up on us. Suddenly I look back and I'm like, do you know, actually in the past I would have probably killed that thing. I'd probably just squashed it and got rid of it, or poisoned that mouse or whatever. But so there's a greater respect for life, and not only can you see it in yourself, you can see it in the trend of man as we sort of develop over time. The last thing I would say is we look for the qualities, the good qualities in things a lot more. Things and people. So, you know, when we have this person in our life who historically might have stepped on our toes, really annoyed us, we might have focused our attention on all the things we hate about them, suddenly we're looking actively for all the good qualities, and it's not hard work. We're not going, oh, please help me find this something in this person I like. Actually, it is just evident, right? It is just there. You just see the qualities in that person that are good qualities, because our perspectives have started to shift. Then we start to see the great qualities in the people without having to work too hard to find them, right? Likewise, we see that in our environment. We see the beauty in our environment. Rather than seeing all of the litter on your street, then you might see the rose that's growing in the garden on the side of the bush, or you might notice how the bees actually are still interfacing with nature as they've always done, and you take that as a beautiful sign of appreciation. So these are some of these qualities that I think arise as we expand our consciousness. And you might even notice that with the negativity bias of mankind, we have this thing that we constantly are looking out for those things we don't like. In human psychology, I think it's called negativity bias, if I'm not mistaken. And also in economics, they call it loss aversion, where with all things being equal, we would rather not lose an equivalent amount in let's say if it's money, than to gain that money in an equivalent amount. So in other words, the cost to us, perceived cost to us of losing £10, or the damage to us from losing £10 or $50, would actually be perceived as greater than it would be to gain £10 or $50, let's say. And likewise with the negativity bias, we would, all things being equal, be more adversely impacted by something bad happening, even if exactly the same displacement happened, whether it was good. If you know, if you lost your sandwich at lunchtime and somebody gave you a sandwich, losing the sandwich would probably hurt you more than the perceived benefit of gaining the sandwich, right? So what we're saying is that we do have these kind of innate qualities when we are unconscious. They just run our lives. But as we grow in consciousness, as we become more mindful, and these qualities start to change. These are just behaviors. They do not define you, they do not define me, they do not make us who we are. They are just figments of our personality. They are just temporary behaviors that find themselves evolving as we evolve ourselves. I hope you found that quick video helpful. The three things then that I found really powerful changes in my own behavior and people that I've seen around me are that we become more compassionate, we have much more respect for life, and we look for the good qualities in all things. Hope you found that useful, and I'll see you in my next video on the power of collaboration. Thank you again for watching my video. Why not get your own copy of my ebook, An Unfinished Mosaic, Life Lessons from a New Perspective? Click in the link below for inspiring true stories of how you can change your perspective.